In this video, I'll be demonstrating how to change the belts on a USA validator. This model is a USA 15. USA 3s are the same, they just have a shorter cord here. But the process on a USA 3 and a USA 15 is exactly the same. For this, you'll need a 1/4 inch nut driver, a 3/16 inch nut driver, a flathead screwdriver, and some tape. First thing you need to do is remove the faceplate. The way you do that is you turn the validator over and you use your flathead screwdriver to remove these 4 screws right here. Pull the faceplate off, set that aside. Next thing you do is you push on this tab at the top and pull forward, and you remove this piece. Set that aside. Next, you'll want to remove the board by pulling up on these 4 tabs with your flathead screwdriver. Pull the board forward and begin to unplug pieces. And then you set your board aside. Now on either side, there's this screw right here. Use your 3/16 nut driver to remove this screw right here in the front. Turn it over, remove the same one. Then you want to use your 1/4 inch nut driver to remove this screw that's holding in this green cable. Sometimes it's this screw, sometimes it's this screw. But in this case, you'll remove this screw. Now that cable is loose. Now what you'll do is you'll pull forward on this, and the whole motor here will come out, and that's where your belts are. Now in order to change these belts, you have to remove the tape from either side of these. Sometimes there's tape, sometimes there's not. You need to push out this pin. I usually use my nut driver and I push from the bottom out, and the pin comes out. It's round, but at the end it has a flattened edge, so you have to get the pin in just right. Do the same on this side. Remove the tape, push out the pin, and remove the wheel. And take the belt off. So now the belts are removed. Now you do that in reverse to put new belts on. Attach them to this wheel. Place it, the next wheel on, put it in place, and reapply the pin. You line it up with the flattened edge on this side, and push it in. And what you want to do is apply a small piece of tape right back onto that pin to keep it in place. You can do the same thing on the other side. Reapply the pin, line up the flat edge, and then push it through. And apply the tape. So now you've changed the belts on the motor. Alright, now you change the belts on the lower part. So what you need to do is you pull this tab. That releases the bill box, so you pull that down, and you turn it over, and this whole piece pushes out. Now you see your other set of belts. So you'll remove the screws that are holding this front wheel in. You use your 1/4 inch nut driver, remove the screw, and you detach the wheel, so you remove the belt, and then do the same on the other side. Use your 1/4 inch nut driver to remove this screw. remove the wheel, which releases the belt. And then again, you do that in reverse for the new belt. Take your new belt, you wrap it around the wheel you've removed. Secure the wheel in place. And reattach your screw. And do the same thing on the other side. You take your wheel, you wrap the belt around it. Put the wheel in place. And then you reattach your screw. And you take the belt and you loop it over the other two wheels. Now this belt is not going to appear to be tight. It's going to fit very loosely until you put the whole validator back together. Don't let that alarm you. Wrap the belt around the other two wheels. Okay, now you take your unit and you turn it over, leaving the bill box open and the bottom part pulled back. You put your motor back in. You got to pull the cables out. Make sure you don't squish them underneath the motor. Push it down and back in. It snaps into place. Now let me see, check to see if your small belts are still in place. You'll see now that they're pulled tight. They fit perfectly. They're still on the wheels. Sometimes they'll fall off the wheels when you put that last piece in, and then you can close it up. And then you put your 3/16 screws back in. And over here, and you reattach your green cable. Alright, now you put the board back on. Plug in all your little cables. To stand it up because it's easier to see. Then you push these pins back in place, both sides. Then you reapply the faceplate. You put it in place, you turn it back over so you can put the screws in. Sometimes it's difficult to line up the faceplate with the screw holes, so you gotta take some time to line it up. And then you put your screws back in using your flathead screwdriver. And finally, put this piece back on, put it in place, make sure the tab goes under, snaps right back on. Now you've changed the belts on a USA 15 validator.